One of the inevitabilities about life, which I hope all of us believe or know, is that it's a struggle. It has challenges, it has difficulties, it has hardships. But this is mostly dependent on us as individuals knowing where it is that we are at in life, depending on us knowing the current season we are at in life. And now, despite us knowing this, if we did actually know this, do we have a survival mentality towards it, or do we have a living mentality towards it? Do we have an existing mentality, which is a survival mentality, or a living mentality towards them? These are two serious questions that we need to ask ourselves, because I have personally come to realize that two, three, four, five, 10 people can literally be having the same and going through the same situation and season in life, but have different perspectives and different outlooks towards them. And two people, four people, 10 people, five people can also be in two different seasons in life, having two different challenges in life, having two different difficulties and hardships, going through two different situations and circumstances in life, but have different outlooks towards them. But this is mostly stemmed from them as individuals having a survival mentality towards their situation, their challenges, their circumstances, or having a living mentality towards them. Because I said it in my videos, my previous YouTube videos, life is never coming at you. Life is always coming through you. So if I may expound on the survival mentality and the living mentality, is that, let me start from the survival mentality. An individual having a survival mentality is mostly centered on them living life in constant fear, constant worry, and constant anxiety. And this is because their belief system within themselves is miscrutinized, it's misplaced, it has been misprioritized. It is not centered on what is true, what is real, what is freeing, what is loving, and what is actually trustworthy. Because they feel as if they have to make it in life by themselves and through themselves, which is impossible. Why? Because this means that they will always be controlling whatever it is, hoping that they know they can't control. For example, other people. Another example, the weather. Another example, external things that go against whatever it is that we most likely know that we do not have control over. Because the only thing that we have control over is ourselves and our attitude and responses to whatever life is throwing at us. Now, you having a constant survival mentality based on you now having a fearful mentality towards life, uh, worrying mentality towards life, anxious mentality towards life is always going to make you just be hyper vigilant, be anxious all the time, because you always want to predict the next best thing. Like, you do not know just how to chill and be still. Because the moment you feel as if you're chilling and being still is the moment you start coming up with what ifs in your mind. If I do not do this, this will happen. If I do not do this, this won't happen. That is true too, but to some extent, because it's dependent on you knowing what it is you can control and what you cannot control. Because from the examples that I just said, someone can seriously be financially stable in their life, but they're in constant fear, worry, and anxiety because they always think that if I do not have this amount of money in my bank account, I won't be able to live life to its fullest. So, like, their belief system, their identity is rooted on something that is now counterfeit, that is always keeping them in this constant survival mode, fear mode, worry mode, and anxious mode. But someone can literally not be financially stable, or they may be working hard to become financially stable and be okay with wherever it is they know that they are at, because they know that one day, one time, their circumstance, their situation will change. The hardships may increase or decrease, but they know that the only way of controlling it is by them controlling their response and their outlook towards it. Now that's a living mentality. If I now can go to the living mentality, you now having a living mentality is you knowing that whatever it is that you know you cannot control, you leave it up to God. Because you having a living mentality is you knowing that your circumstance, your hardships, your situation, your difficulties, and your challenges are temporary. They aren't permanent. You thinking that they are permanent is you now having a survival mentality. But you knowing, not even thinking, you knowing that your situation is temporary. Your situation will change for the best. And even though it does not change for the best right now, it will change in some time to come. Is you now having a living mentality. Why? Because you know how to control whatever it is that you know that you can control. Who is yourself? Because if you do not know how to control your own self, how is it that you will be able to know how to control the other things, and most importantly the things you know you cannot control? Because someone who has a living mentality is someone who is knowing that God got it. I may not know what it is I need to do right now. I may have an idea, but at the end of the day, the outcome and the expectation is dependent on God. Because at the end of the day, He has already seen where it is that I need to be in life. He's already seen that I am trying as much as I can to remove myself from this circumstance that I am in. And as long as I live up the expectation and the outcome to Him, I will be okay. That is a living mentality, and that's what keeps you free. That's what keeps you living in a constant state of being true to yourself. So, in however it is that you will act, you will not do so from a place of surviving. You will not do so from a place of fear, anxiety, and worry. And this will now help you, and this will now make you always be your apologetic, your unapologetic, confident, natural, and authentic self. Like you won't need to try to prove something to someone or things to people in order for you to fit in, because you know at the end of the day your conscience is focused on you knowing who your God is. But now you having a survival mentality is the complete opposite, because you having a survival mentality is that if I do not fit in, this won't happen the way I want it to happen. If I do not do this, this won't happen the way I want it to happen. If I do not do this, this won't happen the way I want it to happen. So it's you thinking that you are God and you can do whatever it is that you know is best for you. And 9 times out of 10, that is a lie if we are keeping it real. So we seriously need to ask ourselves on a daily basis, are we surviving or are we living? Are we just in constant worry, constant anxiety? Or are we knowing to control whatever it is that we know we need to control, who is ourselves and our response to things, and leaving them up to God? This is something that we seriously need to ask ourselves on a daily basis, because every day you're just waking up, always wondering, what am I going to eat? What am I going to sleep on? What am I going to. Like the Bible literally says that God knows whatever it is that we need before we ask Him. This is why having a scarcity mentality and a lack mentality towards life is very bad, because it keeps you in constant fear. But you having a content mentality in the sense of you knowing what it is you can control and what it is you cannot control is what is going to now make you have a living mentality towards life. You won't worry about what even the government is doing. You won't even worry about how the economy is. You won't even worry about what you'll eat, what you'll wear, what you'll drink. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have a conscience within yourself, knowing that God is the one who should take care of that. But that doesn't mean that we should just stay and be lazy. No, we should be in an active waiting towards the timing of God removing us from the circumstance that we want to be removed from the hardship that we feel is taking long that needs to be reduced. But even though the hardship increases, we need to know what it is that we can control and what it is we cannot control. Now, that means that we need to know whatever it is that we need to prioritize, most importantly, in our current situation in life. Because if you're aspiring to become financially stable, what are your main priorities? Budgeting, saving, investing. You cannot be going out clubbing. You cannot be going out just buying expensive things and vacations. You can't be doing that. You need to be realistic. A living mentality is someone who is very realistic of the current situation that they are at right now, and they are controlling whatever it is that they know they need to control in order for them to get out of that situation they feel as if they want to get out and come out on top. But a fear mentality is someone who is not realistic of the current season and situation that they are in life. That's why you find that they are overspending, you find them gambling, you find them what's it called, betting and all these things. That's what a fear mentality does. I mean, that's what a survival mentality does. So please genuinely ask yourself today, are you in survival mode or are you in living mode? Are you in existing mode or are you in living mode? If you're in survival mode, you need to you need to understand the belief systems within yourself as to why it is that you're in survival mode. And you need to reprint, reprogram, rewire those belief systems and put them and surrender them to what is true, what is loving and what is freeing, who is God. And if you're in living mode, continue living, because we should always remember that at the end of the day, your current situation is never permanent. And everything is made beautiful in His timing, not our, His, who is He, God's timing. Bless.